Nice.
Let's go.
Hello listeners, watchers and Vinny's stalkers. Welcome to Goats, the well-established by now greatest podcast of all time. Now, before we start, I just need to remind you, as always, to share this podcast with your mates. Some would say you could pass the pod, but that phrase has already been taken by a lesser, very much past its prime other podcast. But anyway, by getting all your mates to listen, you will grow the Goats family and make us all incredibly wealthy, and that would be very much appreciated.
Yeah.
But with that out of the way, for the very observant of you, or listening observant of you, maybe, that are, who's not watching.
They wouldn't have heard him yet, anyway.
We are joined today by another guest. Josh, how are you? I think the last time I saw you, I was sweating quite a lot and in the midst of the greatest live performance of all time as crowned by this show.
The Tupac hologram.
If you were at the Elvis Presley comeback special.
No, I'm very well. Thanks. Excited to be on the show. Long time listener, first time participator. That's a new thing now. But yeah, no, good to be here.
Wow.
Good.
Welcome to Goats.
Thank you.
How are you two? Have you any exciting, funny anecdotes to tell the
Yes.
listeners from this week? Yes.
I went to Wembley
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
on Sunday.
What did you watch?
Yeah.
I watched the Pizza Cup final.
Yeah.
Oh, the Papa John's trophy.
Papa John's trophy, yeah.
Nice.
We watched the Titans of Plymouth Argyle get fucking thrashed by the Giants of Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
4-0.
saw that. It was the biggest victory in an English Cup match ever, I think, was it?
What, final?
Yeah, like 4-0, I think, is the biggest victory in a
Really?
final.
It wouldn't
Maybe-
surprise me.
maybe.
They got absolutely fucked so badly. Like,
Oh,
I
was
don't
it-
think Plymouth had a single shot on target. It was really dire.
It's because they're shit. They'll never be as good as Leicester City.
I mean, aren't they going to win the league this year?
Yeah,
anyway.
but have they ever drawn to prime Manchester United? No.
0-0. They were fucking megged Cristiano Ronaldo.
Exeter were in the conference when we drew 0-0 to them. That's an achievement. That's like almost as good as winning the World Cup, I reckon.
Basically.
Basically the same.
But yeah.
Also,
yeah,
Michael
went to
Jackson
Wembley.
went to Exeter. Sorry, carry on.
Exactly.
Michael Jackson went to Exeter.
Yeah, because he was mates with that guy who can bend spoons.
Yuri Geller.
Yeah.
The guy from The Matrix.
No.
What?
Yuri Geller is a magician.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where my mind went as well, Vinny.
Not the little bald
There
kid
is
from
no
The
spoons,
Matrix.
Like, what do you mean?
There is no spoon. Seb, how are you? What have you been doing?
Well, my only anecdote I can't tell on the show, so it's been pretty normal. Anyone who knows what I do in my other job will probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't, and we'll move on. It's been
Cool.
fine.
Cool.
How about you, Mork? What you been up to?
Not much really, but I am next week going out in the van for the first time to the Forest of Dean. Fucking
To
camper
find
van
some
life.
kids.
Oh, that's next to where I live.
Is it?
Yeah, it's right next to Bristol.
Oh, well, why is the weather so shit there? Because it's going to be raining all week.
I don't know. I don't control the weather.
Don't even
I'm fuming.
Why you gotta do this to him?
Yeah, I've like booked this week away. First trip in the van, past MOT, everything's all hunky-dory. It's going to fucking rain. What's the point?
Don't
What are you
know,
hoping
mate.
to put in your van?
What am I hoping to put in my van? Is
Kids?
that... No. There will be there'll be at least one kid in there.
And he's not yours. Right. Yeah. On that
Did he
note,
cut that?
Anyway.
Anyway,
that's nice.
shall we get into it?
Yes.
Right. Okay, so as we have already established on this show, way back in episode 3, many, many moons ago, we crowned, and rightly so, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 as the greatest video game of all time.
Yes.
We used hard evidence and objective reasoning to come to this decision. And you'll be very glad to hear that we are not going to change our minds one little bit. But we did think it was high time to go back and crown some more video game related GOATs. And with so many things to choose from, we relied on a recent revelation to help us decide what topic that it would be today. If you listened to last week's episode, you'll know by now that Seb actually messaged me the other day to tell me that he believes in chemtrails. Which got us thinking, are there any video game related conspiracies, or more specifically, myths, for us to crown a GOAT? And we decided, yes, there are.
That's how this show works.
That's how it goes. Such as the constant myth peddled by the media that playing violent video games instantly turns you into a psychopathic killing machine, which is obviously true. So, this week we are diving into the world of video game myths and sorting out the fact from the fiction, emerging from the murk with a GOAT to boot. And we've also brought in Josh, our video game expert, to help us out. So, without further ado, who wants to go first? Who's
Can I
brave
go
enough?
first?
Gone then, chemtrails.
I don't want my nickname to be chemtrails.
Well,
Show
don't
me the
believe in
timing, mate.
chemtrails then.
I don't believe in chemtrails.
That's not what you said to me.
Must have been the chemtrails. Okay, so
Yeah,
you
I'll
ready?
time you, mate.
Who's timing?
10 minutes. You got 10 minutes, by the way.
Oh fuck! Oh god, I'm gonna have to speed run this.
Rapid fire.
That's gonna come
You
back.
get
That's gonna come back. That's a reference.
Oh!
Okay, you ready?
Yeah,
Yep.
go whenever.
Okay. Before I start, I want to note that after I
Should I
finish,
stop the timer?
no, it's all part of the shtick.
Okay.
Before I finished writing this, I realised I'd made a mistake, which was that for some reason in my head, I thought Josh was hosting. And as we always say, play to your audience. Now, I've also written here, I've never met Josh before. I have met Josh before, I just forgot. Now, I think...
Glad to feel appreciated.
Sorry, Josh. Sorry. Now, I also made some judgments on who I thought Josh was, which I think might have not been entirely correct, given how excited he was that Mork mentioned Modern Warfare 2. Because I thought, Josh is into video games. Josh works with video games, I believe.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be really into some like really niche, deep Reddit shit that Vinny would be into.
God.
And then Michael messaged me and was like, oh, what have you picked? And then I was like, fuck, it's Michael judging. And I realised I should have just picked like, did you know there's a secret game of FIFA in Call of Duty Black Ops 2?
Oh my word.
Is there?
But alas, it was too late. So I stuck to my answer, and I picked what I do truly believe to be a video game myth, a legend, if you will. Something so mysterious and unknown that there is currently a $1,000 bounty for whoever can find it.
Really?
I am, of course, talking
I
about
think I know what you're on about.
the infamous... I knew Vinny. I could rely on Vinny. I am, of course, relying about the infamous, the iconic, the elusive Super Mario 64 up-warp glitch.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Yes! 2 out of the
Yeah.
3 other people know what I'm talking about, and that's all I need. The one who doesn't is the one I needed, but it's fine. Okay. So, and this is what I wrote word for word. So for you normies who are out of the loop, here's the basic rundown of the Super Mario 64 up warp glitch. On September 21st, never forget, 2013, a clip was uploaded.
What?
Never forget, it's an important date.
Oh my god.
Because it was the day that a clip was uploaded to TikTok Clock, a community page for speedrunners on Twitch. Now, if you don't know what speedrunning is at home, it's just when you try and complete a game as quickly as possible and completely destroy all the narrative, fun, and effort that was put in by the developers.
Yep.
It's most popular in platformers, 3D platformers, and Souls-like games where there are multiple levels and a heavy skill curve that involves being good at that game. So, like, not being harsh, but like speedrunning FIFA or Call of Duty probably wouldn't be the most exciting thing in the world.
What?
Because it's just, you know...
What gets so much heat on this?
it's kind of
Have you ever tried to speedrun FIFA? Like, it's just so hard.
But yeah, so now, the video that was uploaded was called New TTC Warp Strat. Now again, for you normies in the audience, I'll offer a translation. TTC stands for TikTok Clock, the community page. Warp is a type of glitch, and Strat stands for strategy. I hope I've cleared that up for you.
Yeah.
Now this video is... Hang on, what? Oh, hang on, yeah. Sorry, I got a bit confused. Now, a big part of speedrunning is that glitching I just talked about, warping, i.e. deliberately exploiting an error in a video game to your advantage. This is popular because you can save anywhere in a speedrun from a few seconds to a few minutes to a few hours if done correctly. There are certain games where, like, a glitch is... It has to be done in order for you to even put a speed run on the leaderboard. Like, you couldn't, for instance, try and speed run Dark Souls 3 without glitching at certain points. So you just wouldn't even get close. Now, the video in question shows a player called Dota Teabag, what a name, collecting red coins on a level within Super Mario 64. When Super Mario suddenly glitches up several layers through the level and drops down from a ceiling that's even higher onto a ceiling that's way above where he was before. Now, I've seen a lot of people online, normies, if you will, on YouTube, saying stuff like, oh, this actually saved him a bunch of time and it was a big hit straight away. It wasn't. It was actually kind of like uploaded as like a funny clip. The idea that it was a strat is like an ironic thing. Because it actually stopped him from doing the objective he was trying to do, which was collect a load of coins. It warped him like miles away from where he wanted to be, and everyone was just like, that was kind of funny. So this glitch kind of just mulled around the community for a few years, going relatively unknown. And then that clip was shown to a prominent Super Mario 64 speedrunner called, like, it's that word that Dutch people use for pancakes, which is like pannenkoek. Pannenkoek 12, who was enthralled by the video. And he, unlike the others who'd seen it before him, recognised the glitch's full potential. And on the 5th of August 2015, he released a video called TTC Upwarp $1,000 Bounty. And as the title suggests, he watched the video and offered anyone who could replicate the glitch $1,000 if they could send him a game capture and a game file that showed the glitch in action. And everyone went mental. Just probably because of the money. It was kind of clickbaity, it was exciting, and it suddenly became this hunt. And people lost their minds chasing this glitch. Why was he so into it? Why did he offer genuine money? Well, because there's only one other way of warping yourself upwards in Super Mario 64, and it had been available for ages. But it only worked under very specific circumstances. Specifically when Mario is stood under a hangable ceiling, i.e. a ceiling he can hang from, and he jumps forwards into another ceiling that is slightly below the hangable ceiling. and the game gets you confused and warps you through the first ceiling into the one above it. And I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, there's only 1 or 2 moments in the entire game where that is of any use to a speedrunner, and it's not even useful in certain speedruns. It's only useful for like certain levels of completion. It's not that useful because it's quite a rare instance. However, the one that Dota Teabag performed was much more seemingly random. It didn't have any cause or effect. It just kind of happened. And that was much more enticing because it's much more applicable. So, you know, the hordes of speedrunners pulled out their emulator and got to work going frame by frame to replicate Dota Teabag's movements with the help of like overlay software and all this stuff to try and pixel by pixel follow his exact movements through the game. And what happened? Nothing. No one could replicate the glitch. And people started to get really fucking confused. And conspiracies started to pop up everywhere that like there was some sort of like conspiracy going on that Dota Teabag had been hacking, or that he had like a hacked copy of the game that he'd got from Japan. It was all these like rumours coming out. And that kind of didn't really fly with a lot of people because he was quite a well-known speedrunner. He was just as confused as anyone else. And like I said, it didn't benefit him. So it seemed to be quite genuine. And that's when people started looking at what they were doing differently to what Dota Teabag was doing. And the only thing left was that they were emulating, because they were trying to record the video and the game file, and he was playing on a real N64 with a real cartridge. Now, again, you're probably thinking, he's a little dirty hacker, he's found some way to manipulate that. The truth is actually way more interesting, because the current hypothesis that is believed by most, not all, but most, is that while Dota Teabag was playing Super Mario 64, a supercharged cosmic particle hit the game cartridge he was playing and performed what I believe is called a bit flip or a byte flip. And this is when an individual 1 or 0 in the cartridge code is flipped from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1.
Caused by what you said? Say that again.
What?
A supercharged
cosmic ray, like a supercharged cosmic particle from space.
Like a gamma.
Radiation from like the sun, for example.
Or like a supernova. So it comes into the atmosphere all the time. But these specific highly charged particles are like relatively rare. They're not like super rare, and it wouldn't damage you in any way. But like, it's not just like the sun's radiation. It's like these specific highly charged particles that might come from like a supernova or some massive celestial star way outside of our solar system.
And they're real things. They've been proven to hit Earth from time to time.
There's been other instances of bit flips happening. There was like a really famous thing in an election in Belgium where the election result got changed by 4,000 votes because of a bit flip. And they were just, that's super... Like, it's really... There's also a Qantas flight from Australia to Papua New Guinea or something. It was one way or the other into Asia, and it suddenly nosedived, and they caught it. Like, it was fine. No one, like... I think there was, like, a couple of minor injuries, but they didn't, like, die. But, again, that was a bit flip. It's, like...
So it's like a solar flare, where, like, you know, like, one day, the solar flare's gonna fucking get us, innit? And then, like, all technology is gonna be void, and it's gonna be, like, Fallout all over again.
That is exactly like...
Mad
not
zombies
all over again, but... Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I love your worldview, Mork.
I just can't wait for that day. Like, I don't know what it is. This is a bit weird and off topic, but I've just got this thing at the moment. Maybe because I watched Walking Dead the other day, where I just feel like, you know what? It's so mundane, isn't it, life? Why not let's just have, like, I don't know, a solar flare or nuclear war or, like, zombies or whatever. Just spice things up a bit for a while. Make things like... You know what I mean? Like, give you a bit of a purpose.
We need another world war, I reckon.
Spicy.
No, we don't.
War.
I think I'm just having a midlife crisis. I think.
Like 27.
Just spice things up a
27, he
bit.
wants another war. This is how these
Like,
things happen.
Just think, like, solar flare happens, all technology is wiped, like, it'll be chaos, and we'd be around to see that. That'd be quite cool.
What are we going to do?
What do you mean? We'll just be, like, a part of it.
I say this all the time. if there's an apocalypse, no one needs my job for 1,000 years minimum. No one needs a podcast producer for fucking ages.
Yeah.
Ages. What am I going to do?
What do you mean? Well, obviously you're just gonna survive in it before like the raiders come into your house and like rape your women and like take all your goods and stuff. It'll be a whole different world.
You could produce these stone slabs that the raiders are writing their like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Just think outside the box, Seb. Fucking hell.
Oh, I'm not convinced, mate. Anyway, look, back to bit flipping in Super Mario 64.
Teabag got hit by a solar flare. Carry on.
So, in this case, the code changed, and this is fucking wild. This is going to blow your minds. The first byte of Mario's height, a rapper I didn't know, or whatever, poet, I don't know. Anyway, changed from this is, you got to really listen to this, C5837,800 to C4837,800, or, if you want to put it a different way, changing it from 1100,101 to 11000100. I mean,
in binary is quite a significant difference.
Thank you, Josh. That's massive, mate. That's revolutionary. Okay, so everyone was like, "I'm pretty sure this is it." So another prominent speedrunner called Pannon was actually able to closely replicate the movement by simulating on his emulator that specific change at the specific moment that it would have happened for Dota Teabag. And he videoed it, and it's like pixel for pixel, pretty much identical. And everyone was like, sick, he's done it. So does he get the bounty? Well, no, because Dota Teabag didn't change any code. His run was pure natty. He was legit. He wasn't doing anything wrong, which means either there is an unreplicatable error on his cartridge in that specific moment of time, which is so unlikely it will never ever happen again, or there is a way of forcing that bit flip to take place within the game, which again has never been proved. Neither of those have ever been proved. So this glitch, which was caught on stream by the exact community of people most likely to solve it, still remains a mystery. And people still hunt for it now. People still talk about it now. And that $1,000 bounty still stands. And that is why I believe it's the greatest video game myth of all time.
Cool.
Nice.
Damn.
That whole story just like reminds me of like one of those video game creepypastas where he's like, oh, I got this cartridge from like the fucking garage sale down the road, and then it got hit by a solar flare, and all of a sudden like Mario's a hyper realistic face that could be like all bloodstained and said like kill your family.
And he warped.
Yeah.
He
Several
walked,
feet in the air.
and then he came out of the TV and his photorealistic face.
And I got a sub 20 time.
Oh, I absolutely love that you chose that one, so because that is one of my favorite like video game kind of like quirky, odd, unexplainable things that's ever happened. Because like bit flips are definitely real in like computer science, like they definitely exist, and the fact that it's just like everyone was thinking of such mundane solutions. Oh, he's hacking, or oh, he's just doing a weird strat. But no, it was literally an act of God, a ray of radiation coming from the bloody universe that literally did this, and it's just like you couldn't make this up.
I knew you'd
Has
love
that got to be the only explanation then? Is like fucking Zeus's thunderbolt came down and hit his cartridge. Could there not be any other explanation? In your professional opinion?
Well, I mean, the problem is that like it's so ridiculously unlikely, but it is possible. So it's one of those things. It's like never say never. Like, you know, it could happen. So yeah, it's perfectly viable. But just absolutely insane odds.
Because I guess it's also pretty unlikely that it got hit by a solar flare, isn't it? So it's just as unlikely as any other possible solution, I suppose.
But then it's also
which is why it's a mystery, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, because it's one of those ones where like the only solution that's been posed is so incredibly unlikely that everyone kind of refuses to believe it. So it's like that thing of like, oh, you know, whatever's left, if you get rid of every other option, whatever's left must be the truth or whatever. But the trouble is, if that one option that's left is so incredibly unlikely that it's almost impossible, then it's like, well, can that be the answer? It's like kind of the same, like, I don't know, this is such a random thing, and this is me just getting on my fucking high horse about gambling again. But
Okay, I'm ready for this.
no, wait. No, wait. It's like, I always say this, if you talked about the odds for winning a lottery ticket in any other circumstances, you would bet your life that it wasn't going to happen. You'd be like, that won't happen. If someone said, oh, the odds of you crashing this car are and they said the same odds that are of winning a lottery ticket, you wouldn't just say, oh, it's unlikely. You'd say, oh, it's impossible. It just can't happen. You would literally like bet your house on it. You bet everything on it. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, you'd bet your life on the one answer that probably is true on not happening. Like, it's so unbelievably unlikely. And the fact that it was caught on stream. Like, that's also what makes it so mad. Is that, like, that solar flare could have hit that fucking cartridge at any other time. He could have not been playing. He could have not been playing that specific level. He could have not been playing that specific level and streaming it. But all of those tiny little micro events took place. And the fucking Earth span and the little cosmic bit of dust just hit each other at the perfect time. And it happened.
Too good to be true, isn't it? It's just, I think as a final note, it's just more proof for the simulation theory. That's it.
Fuck.
That's all it is.
Can we not? I'm not ready for this discussion.
No, I'm not. I can only
No,
do
I
it
like that though,
once a
Sam.
year.
That's like a classic. That's a classic. I think that's like a classic video game myth. Something weird and unexplained happened, like a creepypasta. That was all caught, and there's just no real definitive explanation for it. Probably never will be either.
Well, I knew Josh would love it, and that's why I picked it. And then I realised he wasn't hosting, so a bit of a swing and miss, isn't it?
Yep. But unfortunately, you're right. Yeah, no references to COD there, so -1. I thought we would hear. Josh, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can.
I think this would be a good point, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat in between yours and Vinny's for like a little middle section kind of thing.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I'll time you, Josh. So just go whenever, and I'll start timing.
All right. Okay. So we've got 10 minutes on the clock, yeah?
Yeah, it's reasonably loose.
I'll pop.
Vinny will like stop it every time one of us interjects and says like something fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I'll put my hands up for like how much time you got left, and 5, 4, 3. You know.
Okay, brilliant. All right. Okay,
Cool.
Here we go. Okay, so the video game urban legend /myth that I have chosen, that I am presenting forward today, is actually from quite an old game. It's a bit of a cult classic. Not very many people have heard of it, so I will just explain a bit about what this game is before I get into it. And that game is Shadow of the Colossus, which is a game released for PlayStation 2 in 2005 by.
Is it PS2?
Yeah, it was PlayStation 2. Yeah. This
It's
is like
exclusive,
old.
isn't it?
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah, it was.
exclusive. Yeah.
Damn,
I
as fuck.
actually saw Shadow of the Colossus come up on some of the inevitable lists that you end up searching for of like biggest video game things of blah, blah, blah. And I looked into it. It was so unimaginably massive, and I was just like, oh, I'll probably just give that one a miss. Actually, I don't really understand that. That's fucking enormous. I don't get that at all.
Yeah, my research for this one was an absolute rabbit hole, but thankfully I already had a little bit of knowledge on it before coming on this show, so this should. I'll go through it as. Oh yeah, let's just start. So it was developed by the very aptly named Japan Studio, who is a video game studio in Japan, believe it or not. Published by Sony, etc. And so for what people who don't know, Shadow of the Colossus is an open world action adventure game. It takes place in a fantasy setting, and it follows the main character of Wanda, who is a young man who enters a mysterious and isolated region of the realm, seeking the power to revive a girl named Mono, who is currently dying and or dead. And he made a pact with some kind of evil deity that he must slay 16 massive and powerful beings known as Colossi in order to save her. So classic simp story. Starting off then, so gameplay in this game mainly consists of exploring around bleak but beautiful landscapes on foot, or also on the back of his trusty horse named Agro. You do a lot of puzzle solving, combat, all of that kind of stuff, but the main event of this game is slaying each of the 16 colossi, which are kind of each their own like main boss event with unique mechanics and grand visuals and a big fight. You know, it's proper like Dark Souls style stuff. It's very cool.
They're fucking massive, aren't they? Like they are. It's mad that game is 20 years old nearly.
Yeah,
Because it looks ridiculous, and like the guys that you fight are so fucking big. You think, how the hell did the PlayStation 2 actually like manifest that beast? I can't even think of a game like out nowadays that kind of does the same thing.
Well, hold on to that thought. That might come back later.
Ooh.
So absolutely. So this game was critically acclaimed as kind of one of the first and finest examples of video games as an art form. This was due to its kind of atmosphere, poetic themes, and the emotional rendition of the player character's journey. This game had like a very kind of weird, unique feel to it. You felt very like alone and isolated, but also very kind of driven to explore and solve this mystery. It was also remastered on the PS4 in 2018 by Blue Point Games, which are the same people who made the Demon Souls remaster. So it will probably I've not played it, but I imagine it will look beautiful. So, let's set the scene then for this myth. So, imagine a time. So, it's 2005. This is before the internet was big. So, this is where strategy magazines and playground rumours was all you had to go on. And the game had like a super mysterious setting, and it was all about finding secrets, and there was loads of secrets to be found that were never listed in any collection logs or adventuring panel or anything like that. This game had a very minimal HUD, no quest markers, nothing, just a map and a horse and you exploring by yourself. So it kind of made the whole game feel mysterious.
Hang on, no quest markers?
No, nothing at all.
God,
it was literally, you were completely on your own, and
The good days.
Mate, that makes me feel genuinely anxious.
Yeah, that stresses me the fuck out.
Stresses me out, mate.
Yeah, I've like wanted to play games before and like messaged Vinny, who I know has played them, and been like, is it too overwhelming? Is there like too much shit to learn? Like, I'm not going to be able to get all this stuff. Whereas not giving you anything, I'm just going to like start freaking out. Like, what, am I missing something? Am I supposed to go here? Like, I'm very much have to follow the track. That's why I like Call of Duty so much, probably.
You miss the joy of these older games because you get the self-satisfaction of discovering it for yourself rather than just following a pointer on the screen. But nah, absolutely, it was a wild west in game design back then. People did not like quest markers. Each Colossus that was kind of located around this huge open world for you to discover kind of had some kind of esoteric or convoluted way of discovering it. Some were like hidden away in the corners of the map. Some required you to solve puzzles, like for example reflecting the light off your sword in like a certain direction, or using certain items that you find around the world, or climbing mountains to reach remote areas to discover them. So this game was literally all about just dumping you in the middle of nowhere with absolutely no other people to talk to, like in game that is, and you just have to find it all yourself. So this was a game for explorers. So basically, with a game that's already leading players towards kind of discovering secrets and finding things for themselves which are not written down or noted or talked about anywhere else in the game, this kind of spawned the myth, and the Shadow of the Colossus myth. The famous iconic myth is that somewhere on the map, somewhere and somehow, there is a 17th Colossus waiting to be discovered and slain.
Classic.
Bam, bam, bam.
That's the classic, like, hidden boss, hidden FIFA in a Black Ops 2 game. You know?
This 17th Colossus was the messy Colossus. He was there.
Exactly.
Waiting to be played in a game of FIFA. So, basically, but the reason I like this myth so much is not the myth itself, but what kind of came next. So, there was, as you can imagine for a game like this, a die-hard cult following of people who followed this game and loved it to bits and played it far more than they should. And the thing that absolutely baffles me is over the course of 10 years, so that's a decade, the community compiled elaborate theories on the forums, and their posts and kind of talks and theories exceeded over 5,662 posts, or, if you were to put that in paper, 559 A4 pages long, which is more words than the first two Harry Potter books combined.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell.
Impressive.
just
Impressive.
on discussing elaborate theories for the 17th Colossus in this obscure cult game
Yeah.
from 2005.
Which almost certainly has zero proof and doesn't exist, I'm guessing, as well. So it's like, where do they come up with that much
Well,
to
it was
say
the-
about something that's not... Yeah, that's crazy.
I think what fueled it is there were so many other secrets in that game that took years to be discovered, that once people
right,
did discover
yeah.
them, they're like, oh, there's more, there's got to be more. And they were like,
yeah.
they just were like fiends for the secrets. They loved them, they wanted more. And they loved this game so much they were willing to put in the time. So there was all kinds of theories that came up. You know, this is super typical video game playground rumor theory stuff. They were saying, oh, you have to line up these 4 unique pillars that you find around the world, like look at the glyphs on them, and if you rotate them and then invert them and then put them upside down on the 7th of July, they will point to a certain place in the middle of the map. All this typical stuff from back then,
11th
from
of
before
September.
the internet was as ubiquitous as it is now. You know, taking the special torch from the 11th boss fight down to a large stone door, complete all the time trials that unlock the powerful queen sword, then grab the feet of a hawk and it will carry you out to the desert, bury the sword in the sand, and you have to do all of this on your 16th playthrough on your save file.
Oh,
So
of
you've got to
course,
complete
yeah.
the game 15
Yeah.
times first, just to make sure that no little Timmies in the playground could disprove it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was all these wild conspiracies, and it got to a point where people were enjoying like the kind of ARG, like the idea of the community and the idea of this secret existing more than the actual game themselves. It was becoming like a bit of obsession for them. So that was all really good. So and then further on down the line, this was kind of more recently, I believe, there was more fuel for this myth. There was like a kind of a cheese slice dangled in the face of these secret hunters, and that was when the game files were cracked, and kind of data miners had discovered that there was actually unused textures for a 17th Colossus that were discovered inside the game files,
Oh my
Holy
god.
fuck.
which
It's real.
nobody had ever seen before. And
Oh my
everyone, like, you can imagine this community, they're like writing, they're on their 3rd Harry Potter book right now, and suddenly like this gets dropped on their feet and they all lose their minds.
I
And
bet.
They
all
skip
the
Goblet
wheels
of
start
Fire
turning
and they go
again.
straight to the Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, they're straight on it, and they are absolutely loving this. Yeah, and it was just basically, it was absolutely insane. However, I wasn't sure whether to keep this myth open-ended or talk about it, it being debunked, but I feel like the debunking part is kind of interesting as well. So this myth was allegedly disproven by the developers, as long by saying that due to hardware limitations for the PlayStation 2, aka not being able to handle it, they had originally designed for there to be 48 Colossi. However,
Wow.
they had to scale it right back to 16.
No shit.
But they had originally thought they were going to be doing 18, so they had actually started work on a 17th Colossus that did exist inside of the code and did exist as with textures and models and assets and things like that in cut content. So they weren't wrong. There was a 17th Colossus, however, you could never find it. And the reason why this myth is I love it so much. It's just because it's a prime example of the gaming community coming together towards a common goal and just absolutely losing their heads and going wild over something that just in the grand scheme of real life is absolutely meaningless. But some people have been put like thousands of hours into it, and I just love that. You know, that these people are so passionate about it. And also, when Bluepoint did remake the game in 2018, they did a little nod to this secret finding community by dropping a secret sword chamber which had a reference to this huge myth hunt in the game. So people could actually...
sick.
And the way to get to it was some of like the theories that people had crafted. So they dropped
that's
like a
fucking
little
dope.
That's
nod,
really
which I
Yeah.
love it when video game developers do that.
That's great fan service, yeah. Like when they like listen to the community and drop something really funny, that you can just go back and look and be like, wow, they actually understand that we exist and play this and enjoy it and everything else. It's great, yeah.
Because there would be no video game industry without the community. So yes, that is my Shadow of the Colossus myth.
Wow, I fucking love that. That's like, again, like a super classic, like, especially the bit where he said on your 16th playthrough, like, you have to do this shit. It's always like that. It's always something ridiculous like that, and it's something that you could never, like you said, no little Timmy in the playground is ever going to be able to disprove it, which just makes the myth last like almost forever, because it's going to be impossible to prove or disprove either way until a developer comes out 20 years later and says, oh yeah, by the way, this was the reason behind not having a 17th Colossus or whatever. It's the classic thing as well that you would have spouting around the playground in 2005, because there was no internet. No one knew anything other than just so and so told me that there's a 17th Colossus and you can get to them by doing this, and it's like, oh fucking hell, right, you go home, try all this shit, you're never gonna get there, but it's just more time spent enjoying yourself and trying to find something that's not really there.
Back when we had unlimited time.
Exactly.
Unlimited
time.
Well, hang on, Vinny. Come on now.
Unlimited energy. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm not. I'm
exactly.
on fumes here.
That's fair.
He's about to go on to his 17th wank today.
The
elusive 17th.
Bloody hell.
The 17th Colossus.
He's knackered. Yeah.
17th wank.
He's absolutely knackered.
Well, a good workout though.
Yeah.
Mate, those arms, you got to pump.
As long as you're switching sides, though, never train.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
This can't stay in, right? But
Oh, for fuck! Every time you say something like that,
do you know what?
it's always gold. Come on.
Do you know? Do you know there's something called drummer's elbow, which is like when you get this muscle in your elbow here from when you're drumming all the time. When I was about 13, this is completely true, right? We went round to to a family friend's place, and my mum was talking to one of the guy who the dad of the family friends, and he was talking about how he did loads of drumming, and he was like, "Oh, check out my drummer's elbow. No one else has this unless they've been drumming." And then I just did it, and it just popped out, like I had the little muscle, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, how have you got that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. That's so weird."
You dirty bastard, Sam.
I know.
Serial masturbator.
That stays.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is that some of my favourite video game myths is it is the cut content myths, because it always leads to the most insane fan theories. Like my most recent experience of this is I'm playing through The Witcher 3, and there's this bit where you teach this upper class girl how to sword fight, and through the whole build up it's kind of sexy, there's a lot of flirting going on, and then halfway through what appears to be the storyline, she just gets in a massive huff and walks off, and I was like, have I done something wrong here? So I went back and played it again, because obviously I'm in it for the booty. So I'm like, if there's romancing to be romanced, I'm doing it. So I literally go back, restart the save. I'm like, this time I'm going to say all the right shit. Fucking walks off again. I was like, are you taking a piss? So I go online. There's fucking subreddit upon subreddit of fan theories about who she is, why she doesn't like Geralt. Maybe the whole thing was she had her heart broken by Geralt, so she wanted to break Geralt's heart back and all this stuff. Yards of it. Finally get there, read a reply from the developer that's yeah, they were supposed to bang, but we just didn't have time. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Classic.
Oh, I bet you were so disappointed you couldn't improve on your drummer's elbow with that scene. Billy, when you edit this episode, cut out the whole drummer's elbow bit, but just leave my comment in.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. No, I'm leaving the whole drummer's elbow thing.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. That's a
I just
great
gave you the
story.
biggest alley-oop there. Oh dear. But yeah, Josh, that was a fucking great shout. Absolutely love that. Yeah, it's just a classic, absolute classic. And Shadow of Colossus is such a fucking good game. Just mind blowing for the time. I've played not all of it. I've played probably the first 3 or 4. I've not got through all the way to the end.
I played it actually quite recently when I got PlayStation Network, and I was really blown away. I was like, holy shit, this game's actually really fucking cool. Like, it's the most unique game I've ever played. I've never played a game anything like Shadow of the Colossus. It's so different from everything else. I'm surprised no one's made like a kind of Shadow sequel or whatever you call it, like a
Soul successor type.
successor kind of thing. Yeah, because I feel like there would be there would be the people for that, fans for that.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of kind of its DNA in games like Breath of the Wild, for example. That's it's got a lot of similar themes, like you riding around this huge, massive open area, exploring where you want, and there's these big mythical beasts off in the various corners that you can go and kill. So I think it's definitely inspired a lot of things, but nobody's dared to try and capture what made it great and do it again.
Is it really hard? Is it like Dark Souls, or is it doable?
It's not particularly hard. It's quite like, you've got to be quite like, it's a thinking man's game. Like, you can't just sit back and mong out to it after like work or something. You've really got to have your head switched on, because there's a lot of stuff you need to remember and a lot of puzzles you need to solve and a lot of like information you need to track.
It's a very rewarding game.
Yeah, it's really good, and just looks insane. Like, just seeing the big fucking guys come out, like the guys with all the gears on him, and like the troll guy, like just seeing them come out is just like ridiculous, just stupid. Especially for like 20 years.
Are they like big babies, or am I imagining that?
You think it might Attack on Titan?
I think it was Attack on Titan. I was getting so confused. I was like, I'm sure.
Giant babies.
No, but that is Attack on Titan, isn't it? It's big babies.
That is Attack on Titan. Yeah, they do look like giant babies. Yeah.
Because that's there's an Attack on Titan video game that sounds quite similar.
Oh, I think I played that before, maybe.
There's been a few Attack on Titan video games.
Yeah.
Some decent, some awful, but yeah.
Well, should we get into the middle section? I haven't got a game for us today, unfortunately. That was because like video game quiz. What am I gonna do? I could be here for like a million years thinking up different questions.
How
so
do
it
you
was
spell Mario?
It was too overwhelming. So I thought I would use inspiration from Vinny's last middle bit about the live performances, and we'll just have like a little chat. I thought 3 little quick fire snippets, opinions from all of us. I thought we could do a favourite game that doesn't get enough praise. You know, doesn't get the light shone on it. For me, it's Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank 1, 2, 3 are like easily in my favourite games of all time. They are fucking amazing. They're PlayStation exclusives. Like, Ratchet and Clank should be like the poster boy for PlayStation, just like Master Chief is for Xbox. But people have never played them all or heard of them or whatever, and it's like baffles me because they're so fucking good. They've made a movie, which was shit, but they still made a movie. Yeah. And then I thought we could do, as well as that, like spiciest gaming hot take. If you've got a really spicy one, I want to offend a bunch of people, that'd be great. And then maybe a personal myth that you've encountered, like how me and Vinny used to shout "gotcha" at our Nintendo DSs just to increase our chances of catching.
It'd be late at night. We want to wake up our parents, our mutual parents, because we're obviously brothers, and we would just like whisper like "gotcha" into the DS microphone.
Oh, you're capturing a Pokemon and you say
gotcha. When the ball opens, you whisper "gotcha" and increase the chances by 30%.
Because that catch rate success myth has evolved. I remember playing Pokemon Red and pressing up when you throw the ball, and then as soon as it opens, you hold B, and that it will guarantee catch it like every time, right? Just trust me, And then like that evolved until the DS when you got the little microphone, and then all you had to do was just say, "Gotcha." Fucking got him, innit? Simple.
The worst bit about that myth was like I remember going on cheat websites when I was like 12 or like 10 years old or whatever, and they would every single fucking cheat website for every Pokemon game, like every one of them at the time, had that or a variant of that as like one of the little like tricks you could do. Those were all fucking bullshitty. Where did they get that information from? It's utter shit.
They just wanted like little kids like us just sat on the bus just going "gotcha" at the Game Boy. But does anyone else have any then? Any of those they want to bring up?
Are we going into detail or are we just rattling off like bam bam bam?
Just rattle off a couple because we don't want to talk forever and ever. So if you've got anything that you want to come out with, then that'd be great.
Underrated game. I think probably not underrated on PC, but underrated on console. I didn't play it on console, but not enough people played it because although it's not a PC exclusive, I don't think many people got onto it. Portal 2, I just think it's fucking great. Great game, puzzle game.
Portal 2 is not underrated.
Portal
It's
2?
like critically acclaimed.
Is it?
Portal 2!
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
People don't
Rightly
really
so.
talk about it anymore as like a great game.
Like, what's a game that you like though, that you really like, that you think people probably don't give it enough credit, like what Portal 2 gets?
Dark Souls 1.
Oh, that's no. This is my hot take.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is too hard and it's not fun.
Oh, Vinny, you just got murked!
It's not fun.
Very hard.
I've got a life. I can't do it. I don't have time to like get like not just good, but like as good as an athlete is at some shit at fucking a game. I don't have time for that. I can't become like an Olympic Souls player just to get to the fucking.
Seb.
No,
Seb.
it's shit.
Seb.
It's shit.
Seb, listen.
It's too
You just
hard.
don't.
Bad at video
You
games,
just.
mate.
No,
You just
I've
don't have
spent
the
like
talent.
fucking. They've taken like 60 quid off me because I bought Dark Souls 1. It was too hard. I was like, oh, I'll give Dark Souls 2 a go. Too hard. And I bought fucking Dark Souls 3 when it was on sale. Guess what? It's too fucking hard.
Seb, you just don't have the
It's
talent,
shit.
mate. You just don't have the talent, sunshine. All right, some people got it, some people ain't. You're in the ain't camp, I'm afraid, mate.
It's true.
Vinny will agree with me. Dark Souls 1 is easy. I've completed it at least 15
No, you
times.
haven't.
He has.
No, you haven't. You can do the first boss, mate. You'd freak out.
Mate, I've literally never played any of them.
It's so hard. It's really difficult.
It's really not. But I
That was
reckon
good though. I like a
underappreciated-
nice spicy one though.
Underappreciated game. Would Morrowind count, or is that still appreciated?
I don't think.
One game of the year. I don't think
Yeah.
you can say it's underappreciated.
Yeah.
I think just
But
a
no
game
one
that
likes
you
anymore.
really like, that you really like, is something like that you like, and you think probably doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Like one of your
Good on the
personal
Steam
favourites.
library.
You know, it's like when your favourite football player is Ribery. He's fucking great. You love him, but you know,
Nobody's
he's
favourite
never
footballer is Ribery. Yeah,
he's never gonna
I know
get
what you
talked
mean.
about as the GOAT. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
Just because he raped that girl.
No, it's not, Seb.
Can we keep the rape chat to a minimum, please?
No, but he did.
That
That
was
is what I know what he
unnecessary.
talks about.
Seb.
No, that's the truth.
Just
Yeah,
be
but
glad he
people talk
hasn't
about
mentioned
Benzema.
Hitler yet.
Let's talk about Benzema, and he did the same.
I know, but but it's the trifecta. Eventually, you get good enough to like you outrun the rape. It's like Mike Tyson. He's so good that people forget about the rape.
He
No, I
raped.
think it's because he'd fucking.
Exactly.
He actually went to
Huh?
prison for the rape. Yeah, he was convicted of it
Oh.
as well.
Oh,
Oh, really?
But he's such
Yeah.
a good boxer. People
That's when he got
just
his
forget.
tattoo.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
In
Anyway,
prison.
can you just calm it with the rape chat? Vinny, what are you saying?
Yeah, weren't we talking about video games at some point? in this?
Yes, we were. Yeah, Josh, you must have a spicy gaming hot take.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm still thinking about that one, but I was going to answer the underrated games that you personally really like. So I will buy a beer for anyone here who has heard of or played this game, because this game was my childhood, but I think it's so unbelievably obscure that I don't know if anyone else has ever played it. It was a little kind of 2D side scroller called Jazz Jackrabbit.
No.
Yeah.
Never heard
So what made this game like so ridiculously unique and fantastic was it was completely just, I don't even know, like it was a wild ride. It was like an LSD trip, because basically all the music was like 1980s, like, you know, you got like the synths and like the guitar and like all of that. It was all like cheesy 1980s music, but there was also like, it was also a kids game, but yet there was like loads of references to like stoners and like, you know, like drugs and hallucinogenic mushrooms and like Vietnam and like Back to the Future in this like funny little kids game about rabbits like shooting like worms and stuff. And the soundtrack for it was like, I sometimes was like, every now and then when I want a little nostalgia hit, put it on, because it is just like one of the most well produced soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. And that game was just like, it's just such a weird thing that I've never even heard of, but like it was just a great game and I absolutely loved it. So that would be my game that I think
I love
deserves more
those.
love than it got.
Just those games that no one's ever heard of, but you have really fond memories of. You've just triggered like a memory of a PlayStation 2 game that I had called Cold Winter. And when I googled this, actually fairly recently, because I remembered it then as well, people fucking love this game, and I didn't know anybody had ever heard of it. I loved it. It was like a first-person shooter, and I didn't have any Call of Duty or anything at the time, and it was so violent and aggressive, it was unreal. Like, the opening cutscene is some Chinese warlord, like, literally torturing you, like, breaking your fingers off and stuff, and it's like, you just see all of it, and it's fucking great. And I thought it was like the best, and it's got like an amazing storyline, like... Huh?
That was the game, just getting tortured by this Chinese fella.
No, because then you break out, you're like a British spy, and you like go and uncover the secrets, and like, spoiler alert, right at the end, like your best friend gets murdered in front of you, and it's like, no, he's like your best mate throughout the whole game, like, for fuck's sake. Like, it was just a roller coaster. I remember playing it like really late at night and just having to get to finish it, and like just being there like 3 in the morning, like, oh my fucking god, I have to finish this game. And that was, and I played it way after the PlayStation 2 came out. Like, Xbox 360 was out by then as well. It was just a random thing I just picked up. I don't even know where I probably even got it from, but it was another, like, just one of those gems that only you're gonna remember. But it was really cool. And you wish that more people remembered it, like Jumpin' Jack Rabbit, LSD, Trip 5000.
To be fair, I've thought of one that isn't Portal 2. Have you had a Portal 1? No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. So, I remember playing this at a friend's house, but this was big for me. Have you ever... You know the movie Cars, right? There was a video game, and I don't know what it's called, but it was before Cars, but the cars looked like the cars from Cars. Like, they had eyes on their windscreen and shit. I've never worked out what the game was. I've looked for it before... But
I think it was Cars, mate.
No, it wasn't. This was when we were like 5, mate. Cars was a dream at this point. But you could like upgrade and get wings on your car, and you could get like little jet boosters. But the thing was, my friend who had it, shout out Will McCracken, he didn't have a save thing for his PS2. So every time we played it, we just had to try get the rocket boosters and the wings, and then you just turn the PS2 off, and that was it. You just started again.
You gotta leave that puppy running. You
gotta
not turn her off.
Fond memories of leaving the PlayStation 2 on overnight at a so you didn't lose your progress.
Yeah, 100%. Just leave that sucker on, mate.
Madness.
That back when electricity was like peanuts. Fuck it.
I've actually thought of a potential underrated gem.
Go on then.
It's a little indie title. I don't know how popular it is or how well known it is. I haven't really heard anyone speak about it except for this YouTube channel where I originally got the suggestion from. But I think it came out in 2021 or 2022. It's called Tunic. It's like if you mixed like Zelda, like the isometric Zelda, so like Link to the Past, like the old school Zelda games.
Yeah, Link's Awakening,
Link's Awakening. You mix that with like some like Dark Souls elements where you have like bonfire kind of things, and you spawn back there, and if you die, you drop your like coins at your death point.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a really, really, really well-made game. I think it was made by like one dude as well. It's super beautiful looking. It's like it's got really cutesy art style, great like soundtrack. Like it has this really cool game mechanic in it where you learn more about the mechanics and how the game works by like finding pieces of the game manual. Like of the game, like it's like an old like 80s and 90s game.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
And it's even got like its own like language that you can decipher on your own. Like it's the sort of thing where if you like put the time in and you like want to like figure out all the secrets of the game and all these tricks and tips and stuff, you can like sort of figure out like, oh, I've seen that like symbol somewhere over there, and that like meant kind of attack. So that symbol here must mean attack here, and then it's really cool. A really cool game.
That's sick.
The guy who created it, when he was working on like the design for it, he said he wanted to make a tutorial without using any words. He said he wanted to redefine what it is to make a tutorial in a video game, because so many video game tutorials are just like read this massive block of text and then get spoken to by a soldier for 10 minutes. And he was like, right, I'm going to flip that on his head. And it's awesome.
It's a fantastic game.
I love that. Well, I mean, that was fucking great. So, Vinny, as we're running out of time.
Did we do any myths though? Because I've got a good myth.
Oh, go on then. Yeah, if anyone's got, I was just thinking if no one else has got anything else, but that's fine. Yeah, go on then.
I've got a myth too, but you go first, Vinny.
All right, let's go. Listen to these then.
So, did you guys watch the old South Park episode "Make Love Not Warcraft"?
Yes, like a billion times.
Best episode.
Sword of a Thousand Truths.
So yeah, Sword of a Thousand Truths. So if for Sebek, who's I guess never seen that episode of South Park or any
Seb,
listeners,
why don't you watch South Park, mate?
It just doesn't do it for me.
You're just too woke, man. That's it. Just fucking chemtrails. Get off of it.
I don't like chemtrails.
why do you keep bringing it up then, Seb?
I don't!
Why are we talking about it now then, Seb? Anyway, so basically it's an episode of South Park they did like years and years ago, where the boys were all just playing. The boys were all playing World of Warcraft, and that's actually the episode that got me into playing World of Warcraft way back when I was like 10 years old. But there's like a plot point in the story where there's this like hidden weapon that's hidden on some like USB drive in the Blizzard office, and it contains this weapon called the Sword of a Thousand Truths. That's like the most incredible sword of all time in the game, and it's like fucking.
It'll like destroy everyone. Like it's like the way.
Dave from accounting. It's like Dave from accounting foretold this, like this tale, this prophecy. Like someone will wield it in great times of distress. But anyway, so obviously because the episode they takes place within the game World of Warcraft, like they use all the the models and stuff, and they have the Sword of a Thousand Truths, which is like this big blue sword. They have it, and I remember as a kid being like, it's in the episode. The sword has to exist in the file somewhere. Like. It's the only way. Like, it definitely exists. So, and I was playing World of Warcraft. I was like 11 or 12 at the time. And when you get stuck or you need help, you can ask like a sort of game master to come into the game, and they'll spawn into the game, and they'll like message you like, "Hey, what's up? Like, what do you need help with?" And then afterwards, when they helped me or whatever, they were like, "Oh, is there anything else you want? Anything else you want from me?" And I was like, "This is my chance." So I asked him, "Is the Sword of a Thousand Truths real?" And he replied, "I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about that." And it fucking blew my mind. I was like, "It's real! It's in the game. It's real. I can get it someday." I mean, it was in the game, but it's like the sword doesn't exist. The model exists, but it's a completely different sword. But as a kid, I was just like, for ages, I was like, the Sword of a Thousand Truths is real. A fucking like someone at Blizzard told me.
I remember this story.
So hang on, is this person who comes in? Are they a real player character? They're like an employee.
Yeah,
of Blizzard?
they spawn in and then they message you like in game saying like, it's a really cool system.
So someone's job is to just play World of Warcraft and wait for people to be in trouble.
No. Well, no, they're like, it's just like a support team. So like they log in when they get a ticket, and they log in and say like, hey.
So they might be like working on bugs and shit,
desk.
like hacker manning,
But
and then they'll get like a little notification and log in.
Do they appear in game as a character?
Yeah, they are using player clients. Yeah, they are
they can,
literally just a person. Yeah.
They can they have like powers, like they can teleport around and they can like spawn in things, and they've known to do that kind of shit just for the shits and giggles of it.
I love how like all of Blizzard customer support back in the heyday used to be done in full roleplay as well. So if like when you like send them an email about, "Oh no, my account's been compromised," they're like, "Oh, those secret details have been compromised."
That's so
no
annoying.
fucking way, really?
It's so good.
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
fucking awesome. That is so good. I love that video. I now you've mentioned it, you've triggered my mind to remember that whole thing where you're like, "Oh my god, this guy told me it was fucking real." And I was like, "Oh!" And I really wanted to join you in an adventure, but I was just too poor to afford World of Warcraft.
Oh, did you like that?
Oh dear. But Josh, you've got a myth. Let's go.
Yeah, so I've got personal experience with this one, and I was originally going to choose the Halo series for my myth that I was going to present, but I found that it's kind of lots of different isolated bits of mythology rather than one kind of true myth, so I could just talk about it here. First one is in Halo 2 on the map Headlong, the one that has the big hanging crane in the middle that kind of like moves. There was the Legend of the Golden Warthog, which was there was like billboards all over the maps which just had like this really kind of low resolution picture of a golden warthog, and it was like, oh, buy it now. And everyone saw this, and basically in the Xbox Live community there was like literally these just people would just join custom games with each other, and there was like this really convoluted way to summon the golden warthog, and people would just try it. And I remember actually I tried it with some friends once, and we literally followed every single step like we were trying to commit some kind of ritual or something. And it was like, blow up these banshees here, then push that fusion coil over there, shoot out that window like the seventh to the left, and then everyone getting Warthog's drive here, and then like the gates will open and the golden warthog will be there. And we tried it so many times, but like alas,
it's never gonna happen.
It never happened. Yeah, and then just the last one to do with Halo was I don't know if you've ever heard of the Guardians in Halo. Not Halo's 5 Guardians. This was way before then. Back in like Halo 2 and Halo 3. If you were playing in a game on multiplayer and you died, but there was no one to attribute the kill to, aka you fell into the sea or you got hit by a train or something like that,
yeah.
it would just mysteriously come up on your screen in white text saying you were killed by the Guardians.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
And then suddenly, like, the fan base were like, oh my word, who are these Guardians? And then there was all, like, this myths about how you could sight them or, like, summon them by doing all this convoluted stuff. And I remember, like, getting all, like, scared at sleepovers, being like, oh, we're going to summon the Guardians, boys, we're so close. Oh. And, it was all good fun. But, yeah, I just love those. It just made games so much more exciting back then. But you don't get that anymore because you can just Google it and tell them it's crap. And it's just like,
hyper realistic Master Chief coming out of the thing when you summon the Guardians. Oh no! Oh dear. Well, that was fucking great. I love that middle bit. We should do these. We should do like more little chit chats more often, I reckon. Rather than games.
I mean, this podcast is a chit chat. That is what we do. We have a little
yeah,
chit-chat.
but I like going off script. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Winning the game every week is kind of like, yeah, it's great, and I've got all the trophies and all the medals, and obviously I've got all bragging rights over Seb for getting 0 on the football quiz and that, but, just nice to have a little chat every now and again.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go again. But, Vinny, right.
Yo.
Back to business. Yep. Vinny, finish us off.
Does anyone want to time me?
Seb got...
You can't just hit me with Vinny finish me off.
I said finish us off.
Oh, right.
Us off. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He hasn't got that many hands.
Yeah, tell me when I'm ready.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Minecraft.
No.
A small indie game.
That no one's ever heard of.
Oh, when it came out, it was a small indie game.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It was just made by one guy at the start. Like, let's be real. So
I remember playing it at the
Minecraft.
beginning. Me and you had like a cracked alpha version of it, didn't we? That no one heard of it. It was fucking awesome.
The TNT didn't even blow up in that version. It was so old.
Anyway, Minecraft.
Right, go. Yes.
A small indie game developed by Mojang and released to the general public in 2009. Now, we all know this game, obviously. Many of you listening have probably even tried it, or at least have seen some sort of gameplay footage at some point. After all, it is the single most sold game of all time as of 2023. And although multiplayer is perhaps the biggest pull for a lot of people playing the game nowadays, way, way back in the early days of its life cycle, it was the single-player game mode that most people would flock to. And for many, the first experience players had with Minecraft was loading into this giant, lonely world, drenched with low render distance fog, because that's all your computer could handle at the time. Chopping down trees to build yourself a cozy little house, going cave mining in the night for some precious minerals, or foraging for food so you can keep yourself from dying. And these were the core mechanics of the game. Whilst there were non-playable characters scattered about the world, such as zombies and skeletons that came at you in the night just to attack you, or farm animals like pigs and sheep, you would almost certainly feel an overwhelming sense of being alone in your world. you'd go explore some nearby hills for any caves or animals. You would come across something odd. Something that just doesn't look right. Maybe it's a tree that looks like it's been half cut down. Or a man-made looking tunnel in the side of a cliff. But you're certain you've never been to this area before, and it's single player. No one else could have done this. You could have sworn you left that extra iron pickaxe in your chest at home. No one could have taken it. Or could they have?
Ooh, hyper-realistic creeper!
You might chalk these off as small bugs or just being forgetful, but that feeling of being alone in this infinitely, I can't remember the word, but infinite world has already started to peel away, bit by bit. These are the conditions that players found themselves in the early years of Minecraft, and these are the conditions that would be perfect for the game's very first widespread myth, Herobrine.
What?
Like many other early creepypastas, the story of Herobrine unsurprisingly started on the paranormal board of 4chan during 2010, just a year after the game's initial release. The story told of a character that hides and stalks the player within their single-player world, building strange monuments and cutting just the leaves off the trees. Ooh, spooky. The post had a picture to go along with it, and in the picture you can see a hill in front of the player with some trees scattered about. A dense fog suffocates the player's view of the world, but just next to that hill, barely in sight, you can just about make out what looks to be the default player model, but with dead white eyes staring back at the player. Home Alone face.
It is.
I'm currently very spooked.
The story grew massively in popularity after a small streamer by the name of Copeland would stream himself playing in his single-player world. After about 20 minutes into the stream, Copeland would investigate in a hidden room he found at the back of his house, only to see the ghostly figure of Herobrine standing there.
Oh my god.
It's a death rattle.
It's just terrifying.
We've lost him.
That didn't
I'm
sound like you were
scared.
terrified. It sounded like you were on your fucking 17th Colossus, mate.
The stream abruptly ended there, and other than a single blurry screenshot of this encounter, the rest of the stream has been lost to the sands of time.
Really?
Cool. Is that all the questions?
It's almost like it never happened. Ooh.
No, the stream did happen.
Oh, really?
The stream definitely did happen. But I mean, it definitely, Herobrine's not real. Let's just be honest. Anyway,
It was a hoax.
Whoa.
Cut it. It was real.
got it. Between then and now, the myth of this Herobrine character has garnered a cult-like status within the Minecraft community. There have been countless mods, movies, songs, fan art, and stories made about this ghostly figure, with even Mojang themselves joining in on the fun, adding him in the backgrounds of their official media, and even they went as far as to add a line that says, "Removed Herobrine," on every update log from about 2010 to about 2020.
That's quite fun.
Yeah, so everything would be like such and such bug fix, such and such bug fix. Right at the end, it would just say removed Herobrine.
Removed Herobrine.
Every
Yeah.
single update.
Yeah.
It was a really
Why he
fucking good
kept
joke.
Coming back.
Oh, he's back!
The myth is even thought to have inspired the Yogscast's very first ever Minecraft Let's Play series, which obviously blew up ridiculously in popularity and caused the YouTube channel to more or less go Minecraft full time, which I assume they still are. I don't watch them anymore.
Shrug off the
And
shoulders.
although the legacy and impact of this short story is undeniably iconic, Thank you, Seb. For the Minecraft community. I think it's the spirit of this myth that is truly, truly captivating. In those early years of Minecraft, before Microsoft had acquired the game and added tons of features and enemies and friendly characters and places to explore and whatnot, it was a quiet, mysterious, and lonely world. The community was much, much smaller, and the game was still being worked on mostly by its original solo developer, Notch. Now, updates would come out frequently for the game, but Notch wouldn't describe in full detail all the changes that were added, unlike the past 10 years, especially with Microsoft. The idea of a hidden, unplayable character who stalks you throughout your worlds really wasn't that far-fetched of an idea. Of course, Notch and other developers over the years have denied Herobrine's existence. Since players have been asking, but the game has always had hidden secrets and Easter eggs buried just underneath the surface. The 2 music discs you can find randomly in dungeons, Disc 11 and Disc 13 are prime examples of this. Disc 11 features a spooky ambient soundscape, whereas Disc 13 sounds like some audio ripped straight from a found footage horror film, complete with heavy breathing, the main character of the story running away from something before it abruptly ends. What leads more to this particular mystery is the fact that there's never been a Disc 12, implying there to be some sort of lost media within the Minecraft universe.
Herobrine's got it, mate.
So, although Herobrine most likely never existed, and most players probably knew that all along, that didn't stop that thought in the back of players' heads when they were playing in their world late at night. Was that a cow that just disappeared into the fog in the distance? Or something else?
Oh,
Nice.
Vinny. I fucking love Herobrine, man, because I was fully, like you, Vinny, in the Herobrine, era of, just obsessing about it. And
Yeah.
I was thinking as well, I think Herobrine and Minecraft as a whole, like I said, came out in 2009. YouTube came out 2007. I think
2005.
Minecraft and a Herobrine have a direct correlation into how big YouTube is nowadays. 100%.
Definitely.
Minecraft Let's Plays and the format of those videos made YouTube what it is today. Because before that, it was kind of just like a place where you would upload funny clips, Charlie bit my finger, all this kind of stuff. And it was growing, but I just feel like Minecraft Let's Plays gave, a platform, and, Minecraft's a perfect game for it as well, because any Let's Play you do is going to be completely different to anyone else's, to any other way, just by default, because of, the infinite possibilities of the game and people commentating of it. And I think that those Let's Plays kind of spawned almost all of the gaming channels on YouTube, or had some influence at least. And Herobrine, actually, the hysteria around it, the videos of I saw Herobrine in my Minecraft world.
Yeah.
You can still feel the thunder effects of that now, because that's what was going on in 2009. People Herobrine appeared in my Minecraft world, and that shit still happens now. You look on any fucking trending page on YouTube, it's just YouTubers appealing to kids going, Sonic appeared in Call of Duty, shit like that, just crazy clickbait bollocks, all this stupid stuff, and kids are just oh my god, all these kids channels that are fucking Spider-Man arrived at my party, Elsa. I think it all was influenced or stems from that hysteria, to be honest.
Do you remember?
It just has to be.
Do you remember there was that thing where in the original Minecraft you could, if you modded, you could spawn yourself right at the edge of the world where all the physics went weird?
Ah,
I think you can
yes,
still,
I
can't
love
you?
this part
What
of the
was
game,
that
yeah.
Farlands or something it's called, isn't it?
Farlands, yeah.
Yeah, the Farlands.
Yeah, and there
It's
was
like
a guy.
a million blocks away or whatever.
There was a YouTuber who was trying to walk to the far lands in
Yeah.
Minecraft. I can't remember his name. But him and he had a dog and he was trying to walk to the far lands. I still really remember that.
Mm.
Yeah, I love the Farlands. It's such like a cool idea. That's kind of similar to like the Bitflip thing, where it's like the Farlands are so messed up and so weird when you get there because of how computers store numbers in memory, right? Like when you get so far away from the spawn point, the number of your X coordinate gets so unbelievably big that it can no longer store it accurately, and that's why all the blocks start going all fucky and the mobs act weird and the gravity's different, and
That's
just
so
because
cool.
just because one number is off. Bitflip
Yeah.
theory proven.
Exactly, Josh. It all comes back to me being right.
No, it doesn't. Oh wow! So, yeah, I love that one, Vinny. I mean, I've heard them all now. Go on.
Did I tell you I had an encounter with Herobrine once?
No.
Me? Yeah,
No.
you've told me before. Yeah, you've told me countless times. You would tell me every night. You'd be like, Mork, oh fucking, Moke back then maybe actually. You'd be like, Moke, fucking last night, mate. Herobrine came up again. I'll be like, oh my god, really? You as well? Got me as well, mate. Hey.
No, but I'm serious. I'm not joking. This is something that I like. This is right. This genuinely happened, but like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened.
Oh god, I've
but
heard this.
something happened that was definitely not curse, because curses aren't real and Herobrine isn't real. But anyway, so
Then why
this
do they
was
keep
like,
removing him, Vinny? Why do they have to keep removing him from the game?
Exactly.
well, they haven't removed him in like 3 years of patches. To be fair, but
He's too
maybe
strong
he's-
for them now. He's too
they've
powerful.
taken it.
He's too. Go on, Vinny.
This happened at the height of my Herobrine craze when I like just found out about it, and I was like, holy shit, this is incredible, I love this. I like tried to make a Herobrine, like a fake Herobrine in my world like video,
Yeah,
like a hoax video or whatever.
Yep.
And I think I changed one of the like painting textures to be like the Herobrine skin, and I made it in creative mode, and I made this little house, and I was like, I'm just gonna film this on Fraps and fucking walk into this house and be like, Herobrine, and then run away, and that was gonna be the whole video. And as I was putting the house together, I heard something walk up behind me in game. I turn around, and as I turn around, the front door of the house I was in fucking closed, and I could just hear something sprinting off in the distance, and I was so shook by this incident, I literally stopped recording the video. I just logged out, I deleted the world, and I was like, I'm not gonna summon Herobrine again. Like I think
I'm not gonna
that
summon
was
him.
fucked up.
Oh,
That's mad.
I remember
was
this story
genuinely-
as
I
well.
was traumatized by
Yeah.
like something that I don't actually know what happened. Maybe I just accidentally right clicked the door
So,
and I just heard birds or something. I don't know.
truthfully now, you were being serious. Because
yeah,
I was just like, mate,
genuinely
you're just
thought-
fucking with me, particularly. You're creating a hoax to create a hoax just to fuck with me, which is
No,
what you
I-
would do all the time.
I think I hoaxed myself.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
I genuinely thought it was some spooky encounter.
Yeah, you hoaxed yourself. Oh dear. Well, there we go. I've had all three. And I've made up my mind already. I know which one the greatest video game myth is. Seb, I like yours, but it's not quite got the gravitas of the myths of Vinny and Josh's, because it doesn't have that like creepy factor. It doesn't have that like it's kind of a glitch that happened, and the myth is not does it exist or doesn't exist. It's just, can it be replicated, or was it just a random chance? You know, what caused it to happen, but it definitely happened. So I feel it's not kind of like a pure myth. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like the
a
pure
science
myth is like-
myth rather than
Yeah.
a cultural myth.
It's like tangible, and it's not a
Yeah.
cultural myth where it's like
Yeah.
actual mystery where you can delve deep into it, and the answer's going to be ambiguous maybe forever, whereas yours is kind of like a strange phenomenon happened, but it definitely happened, and the myth is kind of how that was created, but you could prove it eventually if you had enough knowledge. But I did like it because the thought of fucking particles and that shooting down and getting his console while his hyper-realistic Mario tells him to kill his parents.
Particles, yeah.
Exactly what the sun was doing. Just
So that leaves me with a choice between Shadow of the Colossus and Herobrine. And they're quite similar, really, because they're kind of both cut content, something that's in the game that you may be able to find if you're lucky enough, or Herobrine's almost like a haunted entity, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd neglected to mention the worst part about the story is that it's supposed to be like the ghost of Notch's dead brother.
Oh yeah.
Which is like the stupidest part of the story. I was like, that's fucking
just
not
gloss
like
over
that
it,
almost
yeah.
ruins it. It makes it
Yeah.
too like creepypasta-y, that one.
It's too paranormal at that point.
I think he did have a dead brother though, didn't he?
No, he had like an alive half brother.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna
Wow,
say,
that's what he
had like
wants you to
some
think.
sort of brother.
Yeah, he did have another brother, but he killed him.
Exactly, but he killed him.
Whoa.
Yeah. He put his soul into Minecraft forever. But so I have to choose. I have to choose between the two of these, and I think that face that you just made helps me in my decision of choosing which one, because I think just based on the amount of cultural impact that I can connect the dots to that it had, I think that Herobrine is probably the greatest video game myth of all time.
Yes.
The Shadow of the Colossus one is just absolutely classic as well. It's that classic cut content. Can you find this secret thing by doing all those crazy tricks and turning your console on and off like 15 different times and restarting 16 times and completing the game, whatever, and doing all this mad shit. But I just think Herobrine had... It's not necessarily like the greatest myth, because it's obviously bollocks. But it had that cultural impact of spawning those videos of, oh my god, I found Herobrine in my Minecraft world, and oh, you'll never guess, Herobrine attacked me again. And I just think the snowball effect that had on the world today, like, would we have TikTok without Herobrine? Would we have all this mad shit without Herobrine? I don't know.
So.
It's had a hand.
Stupidest question we've ever asked on the show.
It's had a hand in it all. It is.
Christ.
Minecraft has had a hand in a lot more than you think.
On our phones, if it wasn't for fucking Herobrine.
Not
I
dead brother.
Genuinely, Minecraft has had a bigger impact than you think on the world, especially
Definitely
social
agree with
media,
that,
multimedia, TikTok, short form, everything. Minecraft
Butterfly
is
effect, isn't it?
It is exactly the butterfly effect, and I think Herobrine was another massive part of Minecraft's initial success because of the mystery around it in an already mysterious game.
He's like the Neil Mulpay to Messi's golden, to his
Yes,
to his
Messi's
World
GOAT
Cup win.
status. Yep, he is. Yep. Vinny's looking confused.
Is he the guy who scored the penalty?
No. If Neil Mulpay hadn't injured Bernd Leno, then Emi Martinez would have never got into Arsenal's squad, and he would never have got his move to Aston Villa and gained his call up to Argentina, making great saves along the way and making the saves in the final. That's
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't thought about that, but Neil Mopay,
won Messi the World Cup.
Leno's legs for a few weeks.
Yeah,
won
exactly.
Messi the World Cup.
And
That's
shouting
crazy.
at him in the thing. Yeah. So, and Herobrine created TikTok. So there we go.
That's the takeaway from the podcast. That's it, everyone. We know your own. Herobrine created TikTok.
We only deal in facts here, remember? So
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Fuck's sake! Don't bring him into this.
Can we have featuring Ben Shapiro on the podcast name so we
No.
get more clicks?
I don't know.
I do not want that.
Have you seen his really fit sister?
No?
Oh, he's got a well-fit sister.
Yeah,
And she puts like quite rogue stuff on TikTok, and I know how much he would hate it, and it makes me happy.
it's like weird when you see them stood together because it's like you two are related.
Yeah.
You look at Ben Shapiro.
He's got to be a fucking reptile or something, hasn't he? In disguise, he's an alien, isn't he? He's like Mark Zuckerberg. But anyway, so that is Goats episode 49. Thank you, Josh, so much for coming on to the show. I'm
It's
sure
been a
we'll get you
pleasure.
back again.
I'd love
yeah,
to.
Thank you, J-Dog.
it's been a pleasure for us as well. Now, next week, we have a very special episode because we are going to be turning 50. We're so
That's mad,
incredibly
isn't it?
old. 50 fucking episodes. And to celebrate, with a big celebration, get ready for this. The greatest episode we're ever going to do, ever. It doesn't get better than this. The Goat Goat. Cue the air horns. Cue the fucking confetti. Boom. And we'll also be doing a small Q&A as well. So, tune in next week for our big 50th celebration birthday bash. Goat. That's right. We've stooped that low already. And a small Q&A if you want to hear some interesting bits about our personal lives. Please don't ask Seb about chemtrails or the Nazis.
For
But
fuck's sake.
The 6
if you
million.
enjoyed this episode...
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode and you want to listen to more, make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. Give it a cheeky 5-star review as well. Make us rich and you'll get even more amazing Goats content. And we'll see you again next week. Other than that, nothing from me. Josh, on this podcast, we always end with a little cheeky love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Bye.